Progress daily. In order to get the opportunity, you must show up by any means, whatever it takes. Welcome to another episode of the Andy Audate show with Andy Audate and Lori Audate. We're super excited to be here with you, and we're here with my wife and my puppy, who's just really loving this podcast. When we do it in person, look at him; he got his diaper on and everything.
Yeah.
All right, so co-host, tell us, bring us home.
Okay, so today's episode, I just actually want to bounce some questions in regards to MRR, but more of the value. Like, why is it important for the model, for the business owner, operator to have an MRR model?
Well, because you're creating predictable revenue. That's number one. Like the number one reason is that you know that you're making money next week. So, for example, if a business owner were to, let's say, close up shop today and not necessarily accept new customers, but they were in a position where they made a decision not to accept any new customer today, just for today. Would you make money? That's the question. Hello? Now's a good time. I'm on a podcast right now. Yeah, I'm on a podcast right now. But yes, you got the address, the same address that they came to an hour ago. I'll see you soon. Yeah, I'll still see you soon, my friend.
In his defense, he said, "Is this a good time?" And you said, "Yes, this is a good time."
To deliver the car, not to ask me all these questions and give me
What's your social security number?
put on my what's your social security number? What's your blood type? What's the gate code? What's the address?
I got scared.
I'm like, dude, I'm on a podcast. Hey, look, Will, bro, chill out. I'm on a podcast. But the thing about monthly recurring revenue is if you are someone who wants to make money, there's two ways to make it. You're either doing something active today or something for the future, or you're delivering something from the past. When you sell something on subscription, you sell, like, for example, I was just talking to a client of ours who's been a client of ours since 2020, and I let him know that I have clients who's been paying us monthly, and people that I've connected with since 2018 still paying us today. And I could either A, go out and hustle for a new customer tomorrow, a new customer next week, a new customer next month. But in our scenario, it just makes more sense just to have it come in every single month. So how do you want to work? Do you want to have predictable revenue, or do you want to kind of have to fend for yourself every single month? And that's essentially what it is. Like, if you have predictable revenue, like, hey, I know next month $86,000 is going to come in, anywhere between $85,000 to $87,000. Why that fluctuation is because we may have one or two customers leave, but you know that you're going to have that 80 something thousand dollars come in. Or do you want to start off at zero and be like, you know what, I don't know how much I'm going to make, but I know I can hustle and I know I can grind, and I don't want to live that way because I did live that way before.
Well, actually, that was my next question in regards to, because that's the model is you're getting monthly revenue because you have a subscription product, whether it's an online course plus coaching, whether it's a service-based business, right? A landscaper comes out every month type of thing. Even a hair salon, if they have a monthly membership, what they're able to create is a base of customers that pay them every single month.
Yeah.
So that's the model in itself. But as far as the value it brings to your lifestyle, like, what are some examples of the value or how it has changed our lifestyle?
I'm going to share two things. Now, so number one, the lifestyle. We have our honeymoon coming up, and with our honeymoon coming up, and me as the breadwinner and making sure that we grow financially, I know I'm getting paid during that whole week. I'm 100% certain that I'm getting paid that week. Why? Because we have monthly recurring revenue, and we focus on it for so many years that the credit card subscriptions that we charge, we know that we've done webinars in the past on the first of the month, on the second, third, fourth, fifth. So people have signed up on different days, so their subscriptions, monthly subscriptions, renew every single month. So every single day, there's somebody in our ecosystem that is paying us, getting access to our content or our products. Now, I don't say that to boast, but it's to impress upon you that the fact is that you can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what it's done for our lifestyle, like what city we were just in Monterey, California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we live in Las Vegas, and we were just in Monterey. We were doing a Spartan race, and I look at the Stripe account, and I'm like, oh, we got new sales. I think that day one account was like a $4,000. I forget the other amount, and it was just like, oh, but we're kind of like on vacation at this point. Like we're
Yeah.
essentially together, and we're at dinner. I didn't make any sales calls. This is people who signed up for different products and services years ago or months ago. At this point, it just so happened that their card renewed, and we're still delivering value to them automatic. That's the biggest thing, is that we're delivering value. It's not just that we're getting paid, but we have a value that we're giving to them on a monthly basis, and they're appreciative of that value. It's similar to a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO of T-Mobile doesn't say, "I need to go and make sure that the wires are tucked." Like
Yeah.
he's on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving Day, he's fine. He's with his family, but he's delivering that value automatically because his subscribers that are paying, they can make the phone call on Thanksgiving and say, "Hey, my phone still works. I still have access to the internet." So they don't have to do anything manually to give value. But if you're a baker, for example, if
Mm-hmm.
you're a baker and you own a bakery, you gotta go and bake the cake. Yes, you could do it ahead of time, I suppose, but you're still just overworking yourself. What I'm sharing with you, there's a different way to create monthly to create revenue, and it's understanding that you want to sell subscription products that can be delivered automated and that has high retention because it's a sticky product. And when I say sticky, it means that someone has a daily or weekly usage of it, and they're less likely to churn because of the importance that it holds in their actual day-to-day life to run their
Mm-hmm.
business or to live in their life.
Right. So they're able to, like you said, whether it's a holiday, whether it's vacation, for us, it's our honeymoon. We travel a lot to visit family, so we don't have to do an either or. Like I was listening to a podcast earlier about a landscaper that ended up creating the
I'm
systems,
listening. I just gotta check something.
so that he could create the systems to be able to be present. Like when he would get home, he was 100% present with wife and kids. And he made a really great point. He said, the smaller the business is, the closer the owner is like attached to it. Like the more active the owner is. And which is unfortunate because it almost sounds like there's a level that a business has to get to experience a freedom.
Yeah.
So the way he made it sound was they just had one rule, which is you can go and hustle all you want, but when you're home, you're home. And that's because, there's kids, there's family vacations, a lot of things. So what are your thoughts on that in regards to like the comment he made? It's the smaller the business is sometimes, the more involved the owner is because they might be wearing like 100 hats. But MRR probably will give him more space to create better products, better things in the vision of the business instead of being like, I got to take care of these 5 customers,
Yeah. I know for me, I couldn't play that game of having a small business to the point where I have to do everything and money comes in when I work, because I never felt secure enough. That's the honest truth. I never felt secure enough. No matter how much money I had, it's like I know I'm not making money tomorrow unless I work. No matter how much money I made, I know that next month I'm starting at zero. And in the beginning of our marriage, in the beginning of our relationship, that was my reality, where no matter how much money I have, 6 figures, 7 figures, doesn't matter. I just can't mentally get out of it because it's possible that I'll lose it. It's because next month there's no income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I had to, as a breadwinner, I would always play this game of like, okay, maybe I just make an extra $20,000, an extra 30, an extra 40, an extra 50, an extra 70, an extra $100,000. And it's like, it doesn't matter. I remember I was listening to a podcast, and I was in the shower, and then I just like crossed over 6 figures one time, and even in that moment um, of income in that month, and I was just like, I still have to go to work next month. You know why? Because I have zero coming in next month. I got to
Yeah.
work. And selling whatever it is, selling courses, selling cell phones, anything that you're selling, if it's a one-time thing, next month you will be at zero. You start at zero. Every customer. I was at a mastermind not too long ago, and there was a gentleman who makes essentially millions in his business, and he's like, next month I start at zero.
Mm,
Next month I start at zero.
yeah.
Now, can you, with confidence and historical data, can you say, hey, well, historically in the last 15 years, I've never had a zero revenue month? Yeah, that's an example. But it's realizing like you have no stability,
Right.
and you can get wiped. You can get wiped. And I'm hearing all of these stories in the different masterminds and programs that I'm in, and journeys that I'm in. I'm hearing all of these programs. I mean, all of these people's stories who's much older than me who are telling me, like, hey, I was doing one-time revenue products, and it was high stuff, and I was making a ton of money. Then the economy changed. Like,
Right.
for example, marketing agency. If you're a marketing agency, and people are paying you $10,000, for example, to do a website build for them. Well, as soon as COVID hits, no one's interested in paying you $10,000 for a website anymore.
Right. Not a necessity per
It's
se.
not a necessity.
Yeah.
But what they are interested in is, hey, I need to have my business keep on running. So that's why I'll continue to use Progreda.
Mm-hmm.
Like the COVID hit, cool. We didn't budge. Progreda grew.
Right.
Our technology grew. Why? Because businesses still needed a website. They still needed a platform to communicate with,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed it to be low enough. So when you're creating monthly recurring revenue, the way that you want to look at it is it low enough that people can essentially forget about it? So like Progreda, we sell it for $750 a month, $399 a month. A business making 30, 40, $50,000, 60, 70, 80, 90, $1,000, $150,000 a month, $250,000 a month, they don't think about, oh man, Progretta 750.
Right.
That's not something they think about.
Not in
When
their overall vision and expense sheets.
No, they look at payroll and they say, wow,
Yeah.
my business makes $250,000, but my payroll is $125,000. How do I decrease payroll? They
Yeah.
focus on that before a little Progretta fee of $750.
Right.
So it creates that stickiness, in the software space. It creates that stickiness where customers are going to stay longer. And if their entire business is built on it, their website, their phone numbers, their email marketing, their text message marketing, their social media marketing, if all that's the last thing that they're going to cancel. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
people love Progretta. And then that's why our affiliates, our 50/50 affiliates, where our 50 affiliates fit our 50/50. 50/50 affiliate is someone who gets 50% of the revenue from their sales. So they sell Progretta and they get 50% of the revenue. And our 50/50 affiliates, they absolutely love Progretta because their customers that they get who use Progretta, we do all the work to retain the customers,
On
maintain the
board.
relationship, onboard all the tech, and the affiliate gets 50% of the revenue. They love it, and it's a win for the customer. It's a win for us because we're growing, and it's a win for the affiliate because they're also getting monthly recurring revenue. That's how you can actually get started in creating monthly recurring revenue. Is that you can introduce Progretta to potential customers, and they do a trial using your affiliate link, and then our team during that trial, we will onboard them, we'll show them the value of the software, we'll do demonstrations, we'll get them all set up, and you retain 50% as soon as they convert to become a paying customer, and for the life of the relationship, as long as they are a Progressive customer, you get 50%.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that we're sharing kind of from our personal experience because it's not a theory. Like I remember when we would have good months. So it's like let's say on average, 4 clients signed up at 5K. We're like, that's a great month. We did a 20K in 1 month, 4 clients at 5K. So on paper, like it sounds great, but I remember the fulfillment. It wasn't automated at that time as a marketing agency.
Oh
It
yeah.
just wasn't automated. I had to rewatch like the calls, and I mean I enjoyed the that it was custom to an extent because I really got to know them. But I remember you asked me one day, like, how many clients can you do in this model? And I was like, well, it depends because of, the calls. And one is in a consulting business, the other one's this, the other one, like, I was like, it depends. And I think I ended up saying, like, 7 clients a month I could manage, 10 is pushing it.
Yeah.
And then we did the math and we're like, well, that's not going to work because we want to travel. We want to go into other businesses and it just, we're going to grow, right? We're individuals, they're going to grow. So I share that because Progreda actually came from our pain points.
Very true. Very
and
true.
we did have those high months and we would celebrate like, yes, we hit a 20K, month, but then we knew that clients and contracts have cycles. So we would always be thinking, okay, we got this one, but what are we going to get the next one, the next one, the next one? And I think as your partner, like it's stressful to see you also thinking about that because you live in a juxtaposition of like, we got a high month, but you're also in the back of your mind thinking, well, where's the next best month going to be? It's like stressful. Even if we didn't talk about it, we both were thinking it. Like, when's the next client coming?
Yeah, every month you're like, when's the next client coming? When's the next client coming? Okay, this client just signed up $20,000. This client, another client signed up for 5,000, and it's like, okay, cool. But then I have to go find and hunt for the next customer. When today I realized the difference for me compared to years ago was the difference for me today is I don't stress for the next client. That's number one. Number two, when I come to work and I spend time at work, what I'm looking for is how do I provide more value for my current subscribers?
Right.
How do I deliver more on what I promised them in the first place? What additional things can I add to my current subscribers? So like, for example, I had a meeting today with my executive assistant and we're creating additional snapshots and templates and use case and PDFs and so forth for people who already pay us every single month. Cause we're like, hey, they're probably going to need this for what they're trying to do. Let's build it out for them, right? And then we're just going to give it to them for free as a surprise. Like, hey, you're already a customer of ours. I don't have to sell you something else. I just want to give you additional value for free.
Right.
And what I found was if you really want to serve people as a business owner, the only way that you could serve people is if you have them at a subscription. If you really want to serve people long term, the only way you could serve them is if they're on a subscription. So let me share with you what I mean. Is you're limited to the value that you can give to your customer based on the revenue that they give you. So if a customer gives you revenue one time, you are limiting the value that you can give. So for example, if a customer gives you, let's say $1,000, you're limited to only give them up to $1,000 of value based on what you're able to provide. Like you can only spend up to $1,000, whether it's on payroll, taxes, payroll, cost of goods, whatever that may look like. You're limited to $1,000 because they only gave you $1,000. Otherwise, you're gonna go in the red, right? And because it's a one-time transaction, you can't run a business on the red. But when I say the red, it means negative on your negative. So you can't run a business like that. But as a subscription business, you can. Because here's how it makes sense. If I get a customer today that let's say they're paying me $297 a month, I am willing to put $1,000 up front of team members, payroll, onboarding staff, whatever that may look like, $1,000, because if we do a good job in the first 2 months, let's say they're paying $297 a month, so round up to $300. I'm willing to put $1,000 up front for their $300 because next month they're gonna pay. So when they pay on month 2, they make they had spent $600 with us. When they pay on month 3, they now at $900 with us. But I invested $1,000 up front. I make my money back on the 4th month, and that's how I continue to be profitable.
Yeah.
And then what's cool is I can continually add more value over more than the $1,000. But if you sell something for $1,000 up front, you're limited to like, hey, I can only give you up to $1,000 worth of value, right? But for us, this is why someone might pay us, $199 a month, and we'll spend $1,000 on team members and staff and tools and resources to onboard them to give them value because we know, hey, if you stay with us for the next 4 years, that's when we create profit. But that's subscription thinking. Subscription thinking is I'm playing a long-term game. I'm not playing a short-term game. One-time tickets thinking is I got a deal. See, when in our company, we don't say we got a deal. We say, hey, we built a relationship with a new subscriber who is now our new friend.
Yeah.
And so that's internally how we communicate about our customers is because we're like, hey, this is a subscriber, someone who's entered into an agreement to the point that they're willing to pay us on a monthly basis. They're saying, hey, I'm going to pay you future future income, whether my business is up or down. I'm going to pay you to utilize your tool and your product because your product gives me more value than what I'm paying for. So it's a win for them. It's a win for you.
Yeah.
And so that's what I call a win-win relationship. That's a friendship at that point. That's a real relationship. A transaction is when you do it one time and it's like
never hear from them again.
Never hear from them again.
Once it's fulfilled, it's like we're done. I actually was gonna mention that, but we share that, like you said, it's company culture for us. It's a relationship because a subscription is they're part of events that you might have. They have updates, like you said. We are always thinking, how can we give more value, or how can we support them in their growth? Because a subscription could go for years.
Yes.
It's not 3 months, 6 months. Many times, I mean, we have subscriptions from the early, like 2021, I believe.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's like at this point, it's like we know if they moved into a new house. We know, like, we just have that. It's a relationship. We see them in different phases of their business, and they also get to see us in different phases. So it really is a relationship instead of, like you said, a transaction. One time you purchase, you fulfill, and like don't know what happened.
What I see is, like, for example, with us, like one of the reasons we use in our company with our subscribers, we use Slack. So like in just one of our Slack groups, we have 760. It's growing by the day today. So it's hundreds of people in general, right? That we get to serve on a monthly basis. And I'm messaging people back and forth, right? And I'm saying, hey, how was your onboarding? Hey, what are you working on this week? Hey, how can we support you? And then in Slack, we're able to alert the whole entire community, right, of our subscribers. And what's cool is you have access to the community. Our team has access to the community. So we're having like text message conversation
Real
back
time.
and forth in real time. Rather, when you do some transactions,
yeah,
you're like email billing,
Right.
email customer support, right? Because this is a way for you to communicate, but we're not really that tight.
Right. It's just during the period of whatever you bought.
Yeah, which is yeah, I'm giving you real quick whatever you buy. It's kind of like a hit it and quit it type of relationship when you have a
So bad.
it's true. One-time transactions is like hit it and quit it. Subscriptions is like, hey,
Well, at least you didn't say one night stand.
That's exactly what
Oh,
it
is that the same thing?
Yeah, that's a transaction is like a one night stand. A subscription is a real relationship where you're building a long-term friendship.
That is true. You are building a long-term, like, growing through seasons.
So your idea of like, hey, I'm gonna serve you is it's not real. Like, for example, Mercedes-Benz just called me. I pay Mercedes-Benz every single month, right? And they're like, hey, it's the same person that picks up my car for the last few years.
It has been the same
I'm
guy.
like, hey, Blake, my windshield cracked. Can you just take care of this? Yeah, Andy, I got you. He knows my executive assistant, so on and so forth. And then now, 3 years later, I'm looking to upgrade. I walk in, Andy, like,
yeah, you guys are buds.
Andy, what's going on? Hey, man. And then I don't give him like my name, my number, nothing. He's like, I already know who he is. And then I asked him a question. I forgot the question, but I asked Blake a question, who works at Mercedes, and he's like, I'll tell Mary Carr, your assistant.
Oh, wow. So he remembers.
Like, so it wasn't like you had to look up the computer, identify what's your customer ID number. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, what's up, Andy?
Yeah.
And I just randomly popped in there, right? You and I were across the street at BMW.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at cars. I went across the street back to Mercedes, and I said, hey, I got a Mercedes already. And then they kept me in the family. They figured out how to keep me in the family, and they made numbers work, and they kept me in the family. And when I walked in, it's like, what's up, Andy? Like, how you been? How everything good? Okay, cool. And this is what we'll do for your Mercedes. So like they're fixing the Mercedes windshield because the windshield got cracked, and I don't have to deal with it. My assistant calls them and is like, hey, this is Andy's assistant. No worries, we'll come to the house to pick it up for you.
Yeah, I definitely see it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the business owner to have that peace of mind that you're able to give more value because it's a long-term play. It's not one-time transaction, that's it. And it's a win for the customer because they're able to have someone that they can connect with. They know the process already. I mean, usually it's like after the third month or so, depending on the product or service, they already know who to reach, everything. It's just so much easier than having to restart a new relationship. So it's a
Yes.
win-win for the customer, win-win for the business owner to give more value. Is there anything else? I know we can go on for many examples, but anything else you'd like to add to wrap up today's podcast on the value of just MRR? And I know we can share more examples, and I'm happy to do another episode about how it's just changed our lifestyle overall. And on the health side of it, that's another topic.
Yeah, I mean the fact of stress, like when you think about stress and you think about I'm about to blow my nose, or sneeze. But when you think about stress, like I don't have this anxiety of like what does the future hold for revenue. I don't have that anxiety. I used to, no matter how much money I made, I always felt like it was never enough because I know next month in the bottom of my heart, I'm gonna start at zero and I need to go hustle for new customers. And I would travel to events and speaking events and so forth, and I would speak to get a customer just to find one customer who can pay us, one big amount that one month. And today, that's not even like I just did a traveling and I just spoke at an event and I spent thousands of dollars in that travel, and we got like I don't know 4 or 5 customers who are paying us anywhere between $99 to $99 to $997 a month, and it's like on the first month, was it worth it? Absolutely not from a financial standpoint, right? I
Right.
spent thousands to go out there, I spent my time, but the fact that from a business standpoint, the relationship was started,
Mm-hmm.
right? The relationship started, and then we have additional products that we sell, and then they're like, "Hey, I'm already your friend. I'm already your subscriber. You already have my credit card on file. Just sign me up for this additional thing, this additional thing." So that's when it starts to make sense from a financial standpoint. But the fact of the matter is, I'm building relationships with people who actually believe in me, who actually believe in our products, who actually
Right.
find value in our services, and they're saying, "I'm willing to pay you every single month and build a relationship." So our lifestyle gets to say, hey, we get to focus on this group of people. We get to serve this group of people every single month. And the beauty of it for me, like my heart is in so much joy because I realize it's hundreds of people. Like God is saying, hey, I'm going to put hundreds of people under your leadership that you're going to give value to. Like that is not a small feat. And then number two is that I don't have to be in a place of like I have to hunt every single month. I'm just like, hey, how do I help you more? How do I support you more? And so when you ask a question, I'm not like, how do I sell you more? When you ask a question, I'm like, how do I serve you at a higher level? Because you're already paying every single month. How do
Right.
I serve you at a higher level? And it's a game changer. So if you're interested in going to create monthly recurring revenue, go to progreda.com/50. I'll share with you how you can create monthly recurring revenue with us. We'll show you how it all works, what tools, what products, and how we can support you in creating monthly recurring revenue. Progreda.com/50.
Sounds great. Well, we'll see you on the next episode.